What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kuempel of Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. I'm super excited. I've got a guest from across the pond joining us from London. Her name is Jo Baladharan, and I think I did it correctly. Yay, good. She is actually in fashion. She is a professional, what did you call it the last time?
Professional nomad.
Yes, a professional nomad. So we're actually doing, we have to redo the intro because we had some technical difficulties on the last one. So you're going to see a little bit of a change of what I look like and her, but we're going to get her intro here. So Jo, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background and all that great stuff.
Yeah, thank you first of all for having me. I'm so excited to be here. For me, I really kind of jumped at the chance to kind of share my story. I've definitely lived a lot of lives in 5 countries now for my job as a fashion merchandiser. I started off at Ralph Lauren in the UK, worked my way up in London, and then relocated for the first time in my life to Brussels in Belgium. And that was my first relocation for Levi's. I was the European merchant. From there, I got an opportunity after reconnecting with some family in Australia to move to Australia, actually. So picked up my bag, had the company pack everything, packed up my mum and her bag too, and then moved across the world to Australia, which was amazing. And then from there, I kind of just dug deep and made my way to LA, where I believe is my permanent home. Deep down inside, the palm trees and the sunshine after growing up in London was calling my heart.
And so obviously it's not a direct line. Did you go to school for fashion?
I certainly did not.
Okay, so neither did I. Neither did I.
Excellent. And you don't need to, you know, traditional methods are definitely not the only way. There's always other ways. If there's something that you want, there's always a way to get into it. I studied biomedical science at university. So nothing,
wow.
Yeah, so nothing to do with fashion. I think that I've always been a creative being and I'm very stimulated by visuals. And I think that for me, that was a natural progression on a personal level. However, my parents are Sri Lankan and Asian parents are very strict, and they really forced me to try and do medicine, which was never going to happen in my life. So biomedical science was actually a compromise degree for me. And I was like, right, done it, got a first class in it. Should I ever want to go back to it?
Sure.
It's done.
Yeah.
And I am now moving on. So I actually, as soon as I graduated, I worked part-time for MAC Cosmetics, worked my way up the ranks, became an artist at the pro shows. So I would do backstage makeup for Fashion Week. And through that, I really saw the designers, I saw them in their element, kind of thriving before the show, and the models. And it was all very exciting, as you can imagine, and fabulous. And I just thought, you know what, I want to do something more impactful, but in this industry. How do I do that? Sure. So it just kind of came to me, and I started researching, and fashion buying was a thing. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can travel with this job. I get paid great in this job as I work up the ranks, and I get to do something visual and create. So it kind of ticked a few boxes that I already knew I wanted to kind of facilitate in my life and actualize. So after I graduated, I think I was a bit of a rebel, and I just thought, you know what, I've done this now for you, my mum and dad. I'm going to do what I want now, and this is where I see myself. So I kind of just organically got into it through perseverance.
That's like the best way to go after anything that you really want to do, is do it organically.
Right.
I love that. That is a great story.
Yeah.
You have got like many different layers to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think like a medical to like fashion, like very great, very creative. Like I like that.
Right.
You have some unique balance there, I would say. So
yeah,
how long did it take you to get to LA? How many years?
To LA, it took me nearly 10 years of working in the industry. 10 years of working for companies that were American. Okay. So I was based in Brussels in Belgium, which was my first relocation. That was a strange experience. They only speak French there, so I had to go on my basic GCSE French from the UK. It was a very isolating experience just in terms of that. I made some great friends there, all international, not from Brussels actually, which is quite interesting, that are lifelong friends now as well, which are amazing.
That's amazing.
They're all expats. They all live around the world. So now I have friends in Australia, Asia, Most of them are in Asia or the continental parts of Asia as well, which is kind of crazy. So I've always got a place to stay, basically, and we meet up for like weddings.
Can I come with?
Touch. For sure, yeah. Oh my God, yeah, for sure. I would love that. But yeah, so for me, I think that was an interesting experience. I did it for my career, and the company Levi's was actually based in San Francisco. So what it did was facilitate one notch closer to where I wanted to be. And with that, I was in San Francisco every month from Brussels. So it was an amazing kind of, I call myself, as a running joke, a professional nomad, because I literally have traveled, but I do it so professionally and I kind of adapt to wherever I am. So that job was great for that, because I literally was facilitating part of my dream. So literally I'd get off the plane in San Francisco, not even tell my boss, and be like, go straight up to the VP and be like, I need to be here. I need to be here. How can I do this? Help me get here. So I was kind of a little bit obsessed, and I'm sure my boss at the time didn't appreciate that, but I still did a great job. And because I did a great job, they kept keeping me on for another 6 months, going, look, you know, can you just work another 6 months in Brussels? And then we'll definitely look into getting you to San Francisco. But that unfortunately happened about 5 times. I was there for 2.5 years. And I'm like, look, you know what? The next time the global merchandising officer said to me, look, can you just wait another 6 months? I was like, you know what, I've got this job in Australia now and I'm just gonna go there. So I actually bit the bullet and just left. Just left Levi's. I took my mom. This company was amazing in relocating me, not only from Brussels and Belgium, but they scooped up my mum from London and our 5-bedroom house, packed it all for us, and then moved me and my mum to Australia, which was phenomenal. I mean, I think it's kind of unheard of. So I'm very lucky for that to have happened to me. I literally was like negotiating with them. And when they gave me the offer, I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, I'll come to Australia. But you know, my mom lives in London. I'm not going to travel halfway around the world to see her once every 2 years. So they were like, okay, cool. So here's your offer, and we'll pay for the visa for your mom as well and move her too.
That's
so that was kind of hilarious. But yeah, it just kind of happened. You know, my dad passed away just before I moved to Levi's for my first relocation. So she's my sole parent, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything without her coming with me. So it was just kind of sheer focus and knowing what you want. Getting clear on what you want is the main thing. If anyone needed advice, just get clear on what you want, because you know what, you'll find a way to make it happen if you really want it.
I would agree with that. I love that advice. That's some good advice. So who are you with now in terms of your fashion career?
So now I've just finished a job at Converse in Boston, and that was amazing. I was global product merchandising director, so I looked after women's apparel and looked after different regions around the world, so Asia, Western Europe, North America, and that was a really interesting role. So everybody knows Converse. Everyone's had a pair of Converse or knows someone who has it. Yeah. What's interesting about that role is I've only ever been an apparel merchandiser. So they hired me and put me in this new department for apparel, which Converse is not known for. So I kind of worked in a footwear giant, this huge, like colossal machine, but then we were a little bitty startup right in the middle of it. So it was a really interesting. Yeah. And we're still not famous for it because it's a startup. It's just emerging and it's coming through slowly.
I was gonna say I didn't know that they had apparel, but that's actually really
cool. Which is really exciting. And I think that as I've grown up the ranks, I started off very analytical as an assistant buyer at Ralph Lauren. That was my first ever job in London when I got into the industry. And, you know, it's all data entry, it's spreadsheets, it's like executing, getting stuff done. And I think that as I've moved up the ranks, I've been more involved with creatives, so more like design, strategy, operations, and all of that good stuff. And I think that I've kind of changed the way my brain works now to a way that's so strategic and creative and entrepreneurial that I don't think I can go back to analytical side of me anymore, if that makes sense. Which is so funny because I think that I've just kind of changed my mind into thinking more strategically, that I could start my own line. I could kind of have a little startup because I've learned through Converse how to do that, if that makes sense. So yeah, that kind of takes me back to moving back to LA, where I'm based now. Picked up all my stuff, moved back to LA, and literally found my apartment. And then, I had some visa issues. So I had 30 days to figure it out, get a new job. But even within that, my next visa wouldn't turn around in time for me to stay. So I packed up all my stuff. This is the most recent thing.
Okay.
Packed up all my stuff, put it into storage. My attorney resubmitted my visa, and then the day after I packed up all my stuff and moved it all into storage, I got my visa approved. So within 2 days of moving out and getting a plane ticket to come back to London, my visa got approved, which is unheard of in the industry. So I phoned my attorney and I'm like, hello, what the? And she was like, that's never happened. So it's literally been 15 days, which is the normal. So within 2 days after getting a decline on my visa, miraculously, they approved it. Just resubmitting it. So that was kind of amazing to get the affirmation from like the world around me that yes, I'm meant to be in LA. You're not just imagining it. It's not an ego driven choice. You know, there's like a real reason I want to be there in my being. So that was great affirmation. But the next day was a flight back to London. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take it. Then I got here to London, saw my family. It was great as always to see my mom and my sister because I'm not that, you know, distance wise, I'm not that close to them anymore. So that was amazing. And then COVID broke out and we now have a travel ban for non-residents to not come back to America. So this is where I am. I'm in London, living it up with my family. Obviously, what's going on is so unprecedented. I mean, like, we don't really know what's happening from day to day. So I try to watch the daily updates once in a while that come out for the news, but I try to also not give it too much power because I already know what I'm doing in my life. You know, I'm here to kind of focus on my career, get back to LA, and let me see how I can do that. So my real goals amidst the drama of everything external is still keeping focus, and I think that's my duty, and that's my duty to myself to keep and maintain that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we were talking about this before we started recording, and I think that's a really good place to be because I feel like there's too many people that are constantly watching the news and are just getting too caught up in it, and I feel like it's brainwashing them a little bit, which really I think a lot of it is, but that's neither here nor there. But so I will be sending you good vibes to get back to LA, and I'm definitely going to follow your journey. So you're still with Converse, or you're not with Converse anymore?
I am not with Converse anymore. Yes, I'm a free agent.
You're a free agent. So so
I am.
You're not going to be leaving the fashion industry anytime soon. Do you think you're going to start your own line?
I think I am actually. So it's in infancy at the moment, and I think that for me, I've really just come to a point after knowing that I can do it quite effortlessly at Converse. There were times when people would turn around and go, oh my God, that's amazing, we should totally do that, we should change the way we do this. And I'm like, wow, I should really start my own line in my head. If I can do that for a company like Converse, I think that I can definitely have the confidence with the experience that I've got now to do it for myself. So thank you for the good vibes. I will totally take that vibes on and sending it right back to you as well. Thank you.
I'll take it too. Sending it back and forth. Well, do you have anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? I mean, we want to get you back here to LA. We want the COVID craziness to pass, and
for everyone. Yes, I think good vibes for all of us to kind of get through this, stay committed to who we are, stay authentic. And I think just pursue what you need to, because this time, if anything, has shown us we're kind of in our own little bubbles right now because of the isolation. But what a beautiful time to create, because there's nothing else stopping you right now. There's no distractions. What a beautiful time to create who you want to be in the world when it opens up again, because it won't be the same. I can guarantee life as we know it is never going to be the same again, and that's okay. But how do we want to be? How do we want to show up in the world? And I think that's something that we can all challenge ourselves and question ourselves on now.
Sure. I totally agree with that. I love that. That's a great message. Do you have any links that you'd like to share so that people can follow your journey and maybe support you when you do come out with your own line?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for asking. So I'm on Instagram, Darnie5, and also my LinkedIn, so Joanna Baladharan. And I think that for me, I would love to continue this journey, and I'll definitely kind of share and spread with you as well in terms of kind of what's going on and keep in touch.
Excellent. Well, I love it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining me on Label Free Podcast. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Kuempel. As always, thank you for the support. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and look forward to talking to you soon.